So my friend asked me yesterday, what PS5 games should I actually buy? And I started listing games and just didn't stop. 40 minutes later, I realized I had a problem, but also a video idea. Because the PS5 has quietly built one of the strongest libraries we've seen in years. And if you're sleeping on these games, you're missing out on some of the best experiences gaming has to offer right now. 16 games, all worth every penny. No filler, no maybe if it's on sale picks, just pure quality. Let's go. Okay, so Sucker Punch just dropped a bombshell and I'm still not over it. Ghost of Yotei takes everything we loved about Tsushima and pushes it into completely new territory. We're leaving Jin's story behind and jumping into 1603, following a new ghost in the shadow of Mount Yotei. Here's the thing that gets me excited. They're not just recycling the same formula. This is a brand new protagonist with her own story, her own demons, and honestly, that takes guts. The world looks absolutely stunning from what we've seen, and if Sucker Punch learned anything from Tsushima, it's how to make every sunset feel like poetry in motion. I'm talking about that same satisfying katana combat, but evolved. New abilities, new tactics, new reasons to perfect that standoff timing. And can we talk about how they're building on that nemesis system? Your choices actually matter here. The enemies you spare or cut down, the alliances you make, it all ripples through your journey. This isn't just another samurai game. This is Sucker Punch saying, we heard you loved Ghost of Tsushima, so here's something that'll blow your mind even harder. Listen, I've put embarrassing amounts of hours into Monster Hunter games, and Wilds is looking like it's about to consume my entire social life. Capcom is going absolutely wild with this one. Pun very much intended. They're throwing us into this massive, living ecosystem where the weather isn't just pretty background stuff. No, it actively changes how monsters behave, how you hunt, everything. You could be tracking a beast in calm weather, then boom, a sandstorm hits and suddenly, you're the one being hunted. The new Secret Mount system is a game changer. Literally, you're moving faster, more fluidly through these gorgeous environments, and you can even attack while mounted. No more of that awkward dismounting just to bonk a monster on the head. And the monsters themselves, they're smarter, more aggressive, and interconnected in ways we haven't seen before. I'm talking full ecosystem dynamics where monsters actually interact with each other. The weapon movesets are getting expanded. There's seamless online integration. And honestly, it's like Capcom looked at everything that made World and Rise special and said, let's combine it and crank it up to 11. This game came out of nowhere and absolutely grabbed me by the throat. It's this gorgeous French-developed RPG that feels like someone mixed turn-based combat with Devil May Cry, then painted it all with this haunting Belle Epoque aesthetic. Every year, this mysterious figure called the Paintress wakes up and paints a number, and everyone that age just vanishes. This year, it's 33, and you're part of a desperate expedition to stop her before she wipes out another generation. The combat system is where things get spicy, though. It's turn-based, but you're actively involved in every second. Parrying, dodging, timing your attacks. It's tactical, but keeps your heart racing. The art direction is absolutely breathtaking, like exploring a twisted painting that's both beautiful and deeply unsettling. And the voice acting? They've got some serious talent bringing these characters to life. What really gets me is how fresh this feels. It's a new IP swinging for the fences, doing something bold and different in a space dominated by established franchises. Sandfall Games is making their debut with this, and if this is what they're capable of, right out the gate, I need whatever they're cooking next. Pure joy. That's what Astrobot is. In a world of grimdark epics and ultra-realistic graphics, Team Asobi said, let's just make people smile, and they absolutely nailed it. This isn't some simple platformer you finish in a weekend and forget about. This is a love letter to PlayStation history wrapped in the most creative, delightful gameplay you'll experience this year. Every level is bursting with personality and clever ideas. You're not just jumping through generic worlds, you're exploring PlayStation's legacy with nods to everything from Uncharted to God of War, and it never feels forced or cheesy. The DualSense controller integration is chef's kiss. You feel every surface Astro walks on, every gadget you use. It's like the controller becomes part of the adventure. What Team Asobi understands is that great platformers aren't about difficulty spikes or punishing players. They're about that perfect flow state where you're constantly discovering something new, constantly smiling at some clever detail you almost missed. The creativity on display here is honestly inspiring. It proves that games don't need to be massive 100-hour epics to be essential. Sometimes you just need a perfectly crafted, joy-filled adventure that reminds you why you fell in love with gaming in the first place. Snake Eater is back, baby, and Konami is not messing around with this remake. Look, this is the Metal Gear game that made grown adults cry over a boss fight, and now we're getting it rebuilt from the ground up for modern hardware. The original was already a masterpiece. That Cold War spy thriller story, the the survival mechanics, the incredible boss battles. But Delta is taking all of that and making it feel like a brand new experience. The jungle environments are absolutely alive now, dense and reactive in ways the PS2 could only dream of. You're still hunting your own food, still treating injuries, still trying to figure out how to take down the end without aging him to death, but everything feels more tactile, more immersive. They're keeping that classic gameplay style while modernizing the controls so new players aren't fighting the camera as much as the enemies. And can we talk about how they're preserving the story exactly as it was? No weird changes, no reimagining, just Kojima's vision, looking absolutely stunning. The boss fight at the end is going to wreck people all over again, and I'm here for it. This is how you remake a legend. You respect what made it special while making it accessible to a whole new generation. So From Software and George R.R. Martin got together and decided to ruin our sleep schedules. And honestly, thank you for that. Elden Ring isn't just another Souls game. It's the evolution of everything From Software has been building toward for years. They took that punishing, rewarding combat we love and dropped it into this massive open world that just begs to be explored. And here's what gets me every single time. You can be riding Torrent across these beautiful golden fields, then stumble into some hidden catacomb with a boss that absolutely destroys you, and instead of feeling frustrated, you're just like, okay, I'll come back stronger. The build variety is insane. You want to be a magic slinging sorcerer? Go for it. Pure strength bonk build? Absolutely. Dex assassin who makes bosses look silly? Chef's kiss. And the world design? Every single area tells a story without saying a word. You're piecing together this shattered world's history just by paying attention to item descriptions and environmental details. The bosses are peak FromSoft, intimidating, beautiful, and satisfying to overcome. Margit still haunts my dream. And don't even get me started on Millennia, but that moment when you finally beat a boss that's been stomping you for hours, nothing else in gaming compares. This is a masterpiece, plain and simple. Santa Monica Studio looked at 2018's God of War, saw everyone calling it a masterpiece, and said, "Hold my mead. Ragnarok is bigger, bolder, and somehow even more emotionally devastating. Kratos and Atreus are back, but the father-son dynamic has evolved in such beautiful, complicated ways. Atreus is growing up, questioning everything, and watching Kratos struggle to guide his son while dealing with his own path. That's the real heart of this game. The combat feels incredible. They've expanded Kratos' moveset, given us new weapons that feel completely different from the Leviathan axe and Blades of Chaos, and the enemy variety is off the charts. You're fighting Norse gods at the peak of their power, and every encounter feels massive and consequential. But it's not just about the fighting. The realms you explore are gorgeous and distinct, from the dwarven forges to the beauty and horror of Vanaheim. And the side content? Actually meaningful. You're not just collecting random trinkets. You're uncovering stories, helping characters that matter. The voice acting is phenomenal across the board, and the way they've woven Norse mythology into this deeply personal story is masterful. This is how you do a sequel. Respect what came before, then push everything further than anyone expected. Insomniac Games is on an absolute tear, and Spider-Man 2 might be their best work yet. You've got both Peter and Miles as fully playable Spider-Men, each with their own distinct abilities and story arcs, and switching between them never gets old. The web swinging, somehow even better than before. They've made New York feel more alive, more reactive, and zipping through the city is pure dopamine. But let's talk about what makes this special, the symbiote. Watching Peter struggle with Venom is legitimately gripping. It's not just a power-up, it's a corruption that affects everything. His relationships, his judgment, his fighting style, and the way Insomniac handles that darkness while keeping the core Spider-Man optimism, that's masterclass storytelling. The boss fights are spectacular, and I mean that literally. You're fighting iconic villains in set pieces that feel ripped from the best Spider-Man comics. Kraven is terrifying, Venom is handled perfectly, and there are moments that made me audibly gasp. The side missions actually matter too. You're helping your neighborhood, building relationships, and it all feeds into making you feel like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Plus the suits, so many incredible suits. This is everything a Spider-Man game should be. Square Enix is doing something absolutely wild with this remake trilogy, and Rebirth is where things get really interesting. They took the Midgar section and made a full game out of it with Remake, and now Rebirth is letting us loose in the wider world. And it's massive. We're talking fully explorable regions, side content that actually enhances the story, and combat that's been refined to near perfection. The thing about Rebirth is how it balances nostalgia with innovation. Yeah, we know this story, we know these characters, but Square keeps throwing curveballs that make even longtime fans go, wait, what? They're not afraid to change things to expand on relationships and motivations in ways that make sense. The chemistry between Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and the rest of the party is perfect. And the combat system? It's that perfect blend of action and strategy where every fight feels dynamic. You're constantly switching between characters, using their unique abilities, and it never feels repetitive. The mini-games are actually fun this time. I've lost hours to Queen's Blood, their new card game, and I'm not even ashamed. Visually, this game is stunning. The Gold Saucer, Cosmo Canyon, all these iconic locations reimagined with modern tech. And that ending? Look, I won't spoil it, but it's going to have people talking for years. Okay, this one's completely different from everything else on this list, and that's exactly why it's here. Baby Steps is this intimate, emotional journey about a baby deer trying to reunite with their family, and it hit me way harder than I expected. You're navigating this beautiful, painterly world as this tiny, fragile creature, and every obstacle feels genuinely challenging because you're so small and vulnerable. The game doesn't hold your hand. You're figuring out how to move, how to interact with this world, and there's something incredibly pure about that discovery process. The art style is gorgeous, like a storybook come to life, and the music? It swells at exactly the right moments to make you feel everything. What gets me is how Bennett Foddy, the creator, uses this simple premise to explore themes of perseverance and growth. You're literally taking baby steps, learning and improving, and it becomes this metaphor for overcoming challenges in general. It's not a long game, but it doesn't need to be. Sometimes the most impactful experiences are the ones that respect your time while still leaving a lasting impression. This is a palette cleanser between all the massive AAA games. And sometimes that's exactly what you need. Kojima's back with more of his beautiful, weird, divisive brilliance, and I am so ready for this. The first Death Stranding was this meditative experience about connection and isolation that people either absolutely loved or completely bounced off. And honestly, Death Stranding 2 looks like it's doubling down on everything that made the original special while fixing the stuff that didn't quite work. Sam's journey continues, but now we're venturing beyond the UCA into unexplored territory, and the world looks even more hauntingly beautiful. We're getting new gameplay mechanics that expand on the delivery core. There's this guitar that seems to have actual gameplay functionality, new vehicles, and what looks like some kind of puppet companion system that's very Kojima in the best way possible. The cast is stacked too. We've got Norman Reedus back, obviously, but they've added people like Lea Seydoux and George Miller. And knowing Kojima, every single character is going to have layers upon layers of meaning. What I love about Kojima's approach is that he's not trying to make a game for everyone. He's making his game, his vision, and if you vibe with it, you're in for something truly unique. The social strand system is evolving. The story is going to be full of those trademark Kojima twists and philosophical tangents, and yeah, it's going to be weird. But gaming needs weird. We need experiences that take risks and challenge what games can be. Bethesda's bringing back the game that consumed entire summers for so many of us, and the nostalgia hit is real. Oblivion holds this special place in gaming history. It's not as universally praised as Skyrim, but for a lot of us, it was the game that showed us how massive and immersive RPGs could be. Now we're getting it fully remastered for modern platforms, and I'm talking updated graphics, quality of life improvements, all the DLC included. The Shivering Isles expansion alone is worth the price of admission. Cyrodiil is getting a complete visual overhaul, so those forests and cities that felt magical back in 2006 are going to look absolutely stunning now. And let's be real, the weird charm of Oblivion is still there. Those potato-faced NPCs with their bizarre conversation systems, the physics that let you stack paintbrushes to break the game, that's part of the magic. But what really makes me excited is introducing a new generation to this world. The Dark Brotherhood questline in Oblivion is still one of the best questlines Bethesda has ever written. The guilds actually felt meaningful, with proper progression and storyline. And closing Oblivion gates might have gotten repetitive, but man, that sense of urgency defending cities from Daedric invasion was incredible. This remaster is a chance to experience or re-experience a classic without the jank that comes from playing a 20-year-old game. Atlus looked at the success of Persona and said, what if we took everything we learned and built something completely new? And Metaphor. Refantazio is the result. This is the same team behind Persona 3, 4, and 5. But instead of modern-day Japan and social links, we're in this gorgeous high fantasy world with political intrigue and existential stakes. The art direction is absolutely stunning. That signature Atlus style applied to medieval fantasy creates something that looks unlike anything else out there. The combat system is evolved from what they did in Persona, but with new wrinkles. You're building your party, experimenting with different archetypes, which are basically this game's version of Personas, and the tactical depth is incredible. But what really hooks me is the story. You're on a journey to break a curse on the kingdom's prince, but it's not just a simple hero's quest. It's about ideals, what people believe in, how society shapes us. Classic Atlas philosophical depth. The time management system is back, but adapted for this fantasy setting. You're traveling between cities, managing resources, building relationships with your party members, and every choice feels weighty. The music, as expected from Atlas, is phenomenal. This is a bold new IP from a studio at the top of their game, and everything about it screams quality. Hangar 13 is taking us back to where it all began. 1900s, Sicily, the birthplace of the mafia. And this origin story approach is exactly what the series needed. We've done the 1930s, we've done the 60s and 70s, but going back to see how this whole criminal empire started, that's fascinating territory. You're playing as Enzo, rising through the ranks in this brutal, unforgiving world where family and loyalty mean everything, and betrayal means death. The setting is gorgeous. Rural Sicily with its sun-baked villages, rolling hills, and the constant tension between old traditions and the new criminal order taking shape. What I'm loving from what we've seen is how personal this feels. It's not about building a massive empire right away. It's about survival, about proving yourself, about the bonds you form and the lines you cross. The combat looks visceral and weighty. This is early 1900s. So you're using revolvers, shotguns, knives, your fists. Every encounter feels dangerous because you're not some superhero. You're just a guy trying to survive. Hangar 13 seems to be focusing on what made the first Mafia game so special. That cinematic storytelling, that attention to period detail, that sense that you're living through a specific moment in history. This isn't just another open-world crime game. This is about exploring the roots of organized crime with all the moral complexity that comes with it. We're going to feudal Japan, and Ubisoft is going all in. After years of fans begging for this setting, Shadows is delivering with not one but two protagonists. Naoe, a shinobi assassin, and Yasuke, the African samurai who actually existed in history. That dual perspective is brilliant because you're getting two completely different gameplay styles. Naoe is your classic assassin. Stealth, parkour, hidden blade kills, working from the shadows. Yasuke is a tank, a warrior who can go loud and cut through enemies with raw power. Being able to switch between these approaches keeps the gameplay fresh. The Japan they've created looks absolutely breathtaking. Cherry blossoms, ancient temples, bustling castles, rural villages. It's that romanticized feudal Japan we've been dreaming about in an AC game. And Ubisoft's attention to historical detail means we're getting an authentic look at this period, even with the typical AC fictional elements woven in. The parkour system has been completely overhauled for Japanese architecture. You're moving through buildings differently, using the environment in new ways. The combat feels like a proper evolution, more tactical and deliberate. What really excites me is how they're handling the narrative, exploring this pivotal moment in Japanese history through the eyes of two outsiders, both trying to find their place in a world that doesn't fully accept them. That's rich thematic territory for an AC game. id Software just said, "You thought Doom Eternal was intense? Hold my chainsaw." The Dark Ages is taking us back in time to explore the Doom Slayer's origins, and everything about this looks absolutely metal. We're talking medieval settings mixed with demon-slaying carnage, and the aesthetic is chef's kiss perfect. You've got castle sieges, you've got massive demon hordes, and you've got the Doom Slayer absolutely wrecking everything with medieval-inspired weapons that are somehow even more brutal than what we had before. The shield, oh man, the shield is a game changer. It's not just for blocking, you're using it offensively, bashing demons, sawing through them, and it adds this whole new dimension to the combat flow. And they've kept that signature Doom speed and aggression while making it feel fresh. The glory kills look more visceral than ever, and the way you're constantly pushing forward, never hiding, always on the offensive, that's pure Doom DNA right there. What gets me hyped is seeing how the Doom Slayer became this legendary figure. We're getting the lore, the backstory, but delivered in the most Doom way possible through relentless, blood-pumping action. The environments look incredible too, blending gothic architecture with hellish corruption in ways that are both beautiful and terrifying. And the scale, we're talking massive battles, possibly even some kind of mount or vehicle combat from what we've glimpsed. Software knows exactly what makes Doom special, and they're not messing with the formula, just evolving it in the most badass way imaginable. This is going to be a masterclass in first-person combat. And there you have it, 16 PS5 games that are absolutely worth your hard-earned cash. Look, I know that's a lot of games, and let's be real, unless you've got unlimited time and money, you're probably not grabbing all of them at once. But here's the beautiful thing. No matter what kind of gamer you are, there's something on this list calling your name. Maybe it's the samurai epic of Ghost of Yoti, maybe it's the pure joy of Astrobot, or maybe you're ready to get absolutely wrecked by Elden Ring for the 100th time. Whatever it is, the PS5 library right now is in an incredible place, and we're only going higher from here. So let me know in the comments. Which of these are you picking up first? What games did I miss that you think deserve a spot? And hey, if this helped you figure out your next gaming obsession, smash that like button and subscribe because I've got plenty more recommendations coming your way. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got about 3 of these games staring at me from my backlog, judging me for making this video instead of playing them. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy gaming!